Don't underestimate the importance of electrolytes, and this video will explain why. Hi, welcome to the Primal Lifestyle, and today we're going to talk about electrolytes and getting the balance right. Now, numpty here actually didn't think about it, and I've managed to get myself an injury. I've basically pulled my calf and I've got a number of other muscle issues. Now, some of you that already know me previously, I used to do quite a lot of endurance sports. So I did the rat race, which was a 20-mile assault course over 200 various obstacles. I did an SAS, or the Parachute Regiment's assault course, to raise some funds, and I also did the London Marathon in a medieval suit of armour. That was 9 hours and 46 minutes of absolute sheer agony, but I'm glad I did it, and it raised a substantial amount of money for a charity. So the problem I have is, thanks to Anthony Haydock down in another carnivore in the US who is suffering stage 4 GIST cancer, which is a bowel stomach cancer issue. He's doing a challenge and I agreed to come along with him. So I hadn't given myself much notice because it was planned to run up X number of flights of stairs in full fire gear for 9/11. However, because I hadn't given it much time, I had to step up the training quite sufficiently to be able to have any chance of achieving it. And the biggest error I made recently, I went and gone and played golf, which I haven't done for a number of years. Just so you know, I came 4th out of 4 of us, so it wasn't the best day at golf. But I hadn't taken into account the additional workload that I'd done from doing the walking from the golf as well as the normal training, and I have managed to allow myself to get electrolyte depleted, and I've subsequently caused my calf muscle, both my calf muscles, quite a lot of injury, but one in particular. However, what this did, it's kind of woke me up and made me think about looking in more detail about the electrolytes and why. So for those that want to sort of think of a quick way of what are electrolytes, they're like the spark plugs of the body. So I've done some research which I'm going to read from now because I want to make sure I get my facts correct. So what exactly are electrolytes? Well, they are the minerals that carry electric charge and are essential for the nerve signals and muscle contractions. So allowing your electrolytes to get low is not a good thing, and that's exactly what I did. So the main things are sodium, potassium and magnesium. There's calcium and other ones, but the first one I want to sort of focus on is obviously sodium. Now, it's probably the most critical for us. So when you're on a low carb, our bodies excrete a lot of it. So when you think about it, when you first go on a carnivore diet or a low carb keto sort of diet, you'll notice you'll lose a lot of weight at first, and that's water, it's fluid, and that's partly to do with inflammation, etc. But obviously when you lose the fluid, you lose the sodium and the other electrolytes at the same time. So it's important to make sure, because although meat is the most nutritional food going, in terms of electrolytes, you need things like salts and other things like eggs, and oily fish is a very good source for them. But again, I'll go into that in a bit more detail. So talking about sodium, it's vital for maintaining the fluid balance within and to help with the nerve messages and the muscle. Sorry, my leg is killing me, so that's why I'll keep moving around. Without enough of them, you get the dreaded carnivore flu, and that's when you do lose that fluid at first. That's part of the reason you get the carnivore flu, and you get symptoms like tiredness and headaches and real nasty muscle cramps, which I didn't take heed to. So the next one is potassium, and this one works in tandem with sodium, and it keeps your muscles contracted smoothly. It's also important for your heart health, because if you lack too much potassium, the muscle cramps and general weakness is a common feature. Now, as I said, you can get potassium is really high in things like liver and organ meats, as well as sardines and other oily fish, so that's a good source. And I do tend to have mackerel, or I have sardines out of a tin. And then finally you've got magnesium. Now this is the powerhouse in the minerals, and there are, I believe, around over 300 bodily functions that magnesium is important for, including muscle relaxation, believe it or not. So when I first started doing carnivore, to avoid this kind of risk, I used to take supplements of electrolytes, and I found that really useful. But as I got more and more involved in it, and I started doing things like bone broth, and I was eating more fish, I found the need for the supplement I didn't need, so I stopped taking them. And very occasionally, if I woke up and I felt a slight twinge in my calf muscles, or I felt slightly achy, or I'd done an excessive amount of working out, I would then supplement again, but very rarely. However, obviously doing this training, I have been using the supplement as a bit more, but I've done it in a measured form and didn't take into account the golf and the additional effort there. So therefore I tired the muscle more than I needed to, and I didn't have the electrolytes to deal with it, which caused me the injury. So I tend to add. So I use Himalayan pink salt, although there's some people say it's not the best, but I always try and use a high quality, either a sea salt or Himalayan pink salt. Getting hold of Redmond's is not the easiest in the world, but you can get that as well. So I always make sure my food is well salted, but obviously on this occasion I hadn't done enough. The second thing I stopped doing, which I now need to get back onto, and I'm going to go to my local butcher's tomorrow and get some bones, and that is bone broth, because bone broth is a fantastic source of sodium, potassium, plus it gives you great gut health benefits as well, and it's high in collagen for skin as well. So I tend to drink it like a tea, so I will put an amount of it in a cup and I'll add hot water, occasionally add a little bit of salt, even though I've already salted it when I've made the bone broth. And there is some videos on my playlist showing you how to make bone broth directly, and I find that fantastic. So that's another error that I did. I'd stopped taking it because I basically ran out and I've not got around to do it. So it's really, really important to do it. Another great source for electrolytes, if you need to get back onto it, is the organ meats. So organ meats like liver, kidneys are really high and good in magnesium and others. But you also can get the same from salmon and mackerel as well. But if you look at the nose to tail approach, if you can eat from the nose to tail, you'll get more than sufficient electrolytes required. So in conclusion, although it's frustrating that I've picked up this injury strain, it's also a really good wake-up call for me, and for any of you that are on this carnivore style of eating, don't underestimate the importance of electrolytes. So do make sure you introduce either occasionally some organ meat, like liver or kidney, heart if you're into it. It's not my thing, but it's up to you. Or certain seafood like oily fish or crabs and lobster if you can afford it. But things like sardines and mackerel are fantastic, really, really good. They've obviously got the omegas that are beneficial to that as well. Bone broth is a definite go-to for me, and that's what I'm going to go out and make some more. I had obviously ran out, so I hadn't really realised the issue that's caused me. And it's also good for the collagen, it's good for your skin as well. The interesting thing is playing golf, by the way. I wore a short top, I had a hat with me, it was a bright sunny day, and I didn't get sunburnt at all. And I put a lot of that down to this way of eating as well, but that's a side issue. I diversify as I always do. But it's really, really important that you do take the electrolytes seriously and you keep going. So I've allowed myself to get derailed stupidly, and it's given me a bit of a calf injury, which has messed up my plans. but it's not the end of the world, and I will correct it. And the fact that the last day or so I've been boosting the amount of electrolytes I've noticed that the aches and pains have gone now, but it's just obviously I've got to allow the muscle or the tissue to repair. So one other thing I just want to touch upon, we are looking to potentially set up a winter meetup down in Somerset on November the 15th. If you are interested, I'll put a link below where you could register your interest. Once we know the amount of people that are interested, we can then press the button to go. So far I've had quite a few interests, so it looks like there's a good possibility this could be a flyer. And we'll also set the date for the main meetup in Somerset next year, which is June the 13th. But more details of that will be followed, and I'm planning to go to see a couple of venues in the next week or so with regards to setting up some other meetup events, potentially one in Kent, one in the Midlands, and even one potentially in Scotland, if there is enough interest. So do register your interest in these sort of things, because that helps us gauge the viability of doing it or not. I think that's it for me, so stay primal, and I don't know, I'm just pissed off really. Sorry, it's not the proper way to end, but that's how it is. Bugger.